note, as Strava says,
Nice.
drink deeply, live fully, and draft good prospects. Strava Craft Coffee is the CBD-enriched coffee that has really changed lives. If you haven't checked it out yet, they are now offering K-Cups as well as their normal whole bean or ground coffee. So however you like your coffee, you can get it from them. And you get 20% off when you use code DNVR20 and purchase online. They'll ship it straight to your door so you can keep your quarantine going. You'll be fine as far as that's concerned. The CBD is non-psychoactive, and it's been known to help a bunch of things like long-term migraines, arthritis, IBS, many other aches and pains as well.
It's great for migraines.
Yeah, can confirm. The only time I've had it was for a migraine.
Same.
So it's really good for that. Can confirm that. Just remember to use that 20% off when you use code DNVR20.
Why wouldn't you want 20% off for doing
saying,
nothing?
Exactly.
We're just giving it to you. Here, we're trying to make your life better, and we're doing it at a discounted rate.
Also trying to make your life better. Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche Podcast, presented by Davidson's Beer, Wine, and Spirits. With over 1,000 different varieties of beer, they have a beer for everyone, and they also have wines and liquors from around the world. They are just kind of awesome. Whatever you want, they have it, and if they don't have it, they can order it for you. You just have to let them know. You can download their app and sign up for their loyalty program to get amazing deals, and they also ship to your house. So highly recommend. Get stuff shipped to your house these days. It's the way to go. What is up, Spencer? He says hi to Kale.
Hi, Spencer.
Yeah, he's not on camera.
Hi, Spencer.
He's not on camera, and he reacted visually.
He gave you the peace sign.
Yeah.
So good work. On today's show, we're answering your questions and pretending like hockey is still a thing.
Yeah.
So
We're continuing all as normal for a day.
at least one day.
Next week it'll get weird, but for today, whatever.
I mean, today was up to y'all. Y'all are the one who submitted the questions. So,
it's true.
Yeah, let's jump right in with the hockey one to start. Our boy Luke from Winnipeg asks, who would the Avs like, or who would you like the Avs to offer sheet this summer? And if it worked, how does that shape the lineup? Obviously alluding towards Anthony Cirelli in this case.
Yeah, I mean, that's it, right?
I mean, Max Domi.
They've got too much space. They would just
Match, you think?
Yeah. They would just be like Carolina with Aho, where they're like,
we're going to match.
Thanks for doing all the work for us.
Yeah, fair enough.
So it would just be Cirelli.
Who else is up near the cap at this point, really? Even
Vancouver.
Yeah, they have a bunch of cap freeing up at the end of the year, though, kind of.
So
yeah,
without having cap friendly in front of me,
all the teams that are near the cap have a bunch coming off.
Washington's old.
Arizona has Hall falling off. Toronto has their entire defense falling off.
Yeah.
St. Louis has Pietrangelo.
I'm really surprised that's not done.
Yeah, you would have thought they would have been on that, but
yeah, I'm surprised that's not done. No, I think Cirelli makes the most sense because defensively they're fine and they've got the young reinforcements that they can slot in and move out some of the other guys, whoever they choose to do. Cirelli would make perfect sense. He would give them an elite defensive forward.
Yep.
That
top six hole.
Well, and put him next to Nichushkin, and you have 2/3 of an elite defensive stopping unit that like you just hard match them, and you take Nathan McKinnon away from top lines, and you hard match your defensive guys against the McDavids of the world, and you let McKinnon go run buck wild on anybody else. So
makes sense to me.
I mean, that just seems like easy peasy.
Spencer says Barzal. There's zero chance he's leaving the island, I would imagine.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
So
he's a little overrated, though.
A little. Definitely.
The rookie year where he played next to Tavares obviously
blew
is what
up
people
expectations a little
yeah,
bit.
exactly. Yeah. And then the combination of Trotz and the I want to play 2-1 hockey
right.
But
different
no, he's a little overrated. I think Pulock is a little underrated.
I just can't bring myself to love Pulock, really.
He's not a top pairing guy.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't fit in Colorado. I just think that like that's just an underrated defenseman.
At this point, would any defenseman fit in?
No,
Colorado?
there's like Pietrangelo. Like you
Right.
and I have talked. We've had that conversation where we're like, yeah, that's a guy you would have to talk about if he hit the market. I mean, could you imagine just taking Pietrangelo off St. Louis and dropping him onto Colorado's roster? Just hey, free,
easy money, yeah.
Like you don't even care how he ages. You just wounded them so badly.
What's up, Nick? Barzell 2C. Yeah, it would be real nice, but also not realistic.
Yeah. Well, and then like we can do a new hook.
The bar is opening at 5:30.
Yeah.
Nick. But it is still opening, so we got that going for us.
Yeah, we're honestly just kind of hanging out today until that point.
Another question from Luke here. All of our subscribers asked like multi-point questions today,
Nice.
so if you aren't a member yet,
They figured out.
yeah, we always give our members priority with questions. So if you're
That's right.
not a member or you didn't ask your question on the DNVR.com, be sure to do so in the future to make sure it gets answered.
They're like, I've got 6 questions. We're gonna just
Yep.
bullet points, baby.
The next question is, would you guys extend Vlad Nemesnikov at the expense of the current top 9 forwards, or would you rather move on and deal with getting a top 6 forward in free agency, etc.? And honestly, we could probably do a whole pod about this question because the way he had played in the since he joined the team, it's really hard not to sign him right now. He's playing, assuming price is reasonable and all of that.
That's where
playing
it gets to be a problem, is that he's going to want $4 million,
right?
And Colorado's not going to pay $4 million for a guy that's like
middle 6, realistically,
right?
Yeah.
Like he could be your top 6 forward who can kind of move around, and then he's more, you have Donskoy and I guess to a lesser extent Comfer as like 30 to 40 point guys. Yeah. And Nemesnikov just adds to that. And Nichushkin adds to that. If you do that, though, then you're having the conversation of where do you put Martin Kaut?
Right. It's already so tight, and they've already made their bed with some of those contracts with Donskoy and Comfer.
Yeah, well, and like those are fine, right? But then it's like you also have Belmar, you also have Calvert.
Yep.
And then you're trying to, I think, given what's happening at the goaltender position right now, they might want to do that because they want to try to entice Seattle to take a forward. Like, hey, we've got some good forwards to offer up. Comfer's going to be the right age, he's going to be a very, very intriguing player for them to try and build around, to try and keep them away from Colorado's goalies.
But at the same time, that still happens in 2021. That's still over a full year away.
But that's what I'm like. If you do that with the idea of, if you bring Nemesnikov back with the idea of trying to entice Seattle to take forward, you leave a Jost or you leave a Comfer hanging out there for them.
Yeah,
that I think is more intriguing than them taking either one of the goalies.
I would think so.
And that might be one of the things you bring him back to do, is help beef up the forward court to get to that point.
Well, and you can have some other conversations too there. We've talked about this before. Can you look for moving on from like a Belmar to find room for Nemesnikov or something like that? So
only having 1 year left on that deal and knowing that he has been an amazing fit in the locker room, and
obviously it's really hard. But
if he ends up as like your 13th forward next year, you've somehow gone from him being like your 10th forward this year to your 13th forward next year. Like that means you're just continuing to improve and get better
for sure.
And if Nemesnikov comes in and is a part of that, I'm okay with that because he has played a lot of center in the NHL. He doesn't do it now, hasn't done it in a few years, but is capable of it. So you could have that conversation if you wanted to try him there. Versatility always just gives you more options.
And that's, I mean, he has proven to be extremely versatile in his time here. So.
He was traded for a 4th round pick, and he's the highest scoring guy from the deadline right now. And it's like, this is why I'm saying, dude, Pierre Dorian's not going to take Sakic's calls anymore.
I wonder who called who on that one. But all right, so it's going to be a tough situation, clearly.
Yeah.
That's a decision that I think could very well go either way at the end of the year.
I don't expect him back personally.
Okay. So
my expectation is no, but he continues to play this way. And he makes the case for it, but he also makes the case that somebody else will give him a top 6 job. and pay him that way.
That's true.
So, this is sort of the double-edged sword here of, like, he continues
to
produce.
so well that,
Right. And, now that obviously he will not get the last of the regular season games without McKinnon to try and beef those stats up anymore, it's a very small sample size somebody would have to buy on.
That's true. But people have bought on less in the past. So, you never know.
And if there's a playoffs, then
you'll get a whole bigger sample size to work with.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, next question. We'll move on as that one seems kind of pretty set. Spencer asks, "Long live esports. Want to share what you guys will be watching and streaming during the sports hiatus?"
Watching?
I don't know anything about the new Riot game either. I don't know if you do. Valorant.
For anybody looking for something to watch, if you're a fan of sci-fi at all, Altered Carbon Season 2 just dropped on Netflix. The first season is incredible. The second season is still really good, and it's my favorite sci-fi show that's been made in years. If that's your type of thing, I would recommend filling your void, because there's 2 seasons to binge, filling your sports void with that.
2 seasons helps.
Yeah.
Stuff to watch, man. I don't know. I watch everything, so it's just like whatever.
All right, well, I think he's talking about esports specifically.
Yeah, I watch Twitch every day. Yeah. So whatever.
Always, the Dota minor just ended. The next Dota major's coming up. That's what I'm going to be watching.
The league regular season is going on.
Yeah.
I the spring split and all that stuff. I watch all that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
I usually don't watch League. I'll watch Dota. I think we both watch GSL when we happen to be up late at night.
Yeah. Well, and the schedule for it is so erratic these days. It's a lot. Like I really have to plan for it more than anything else. But I like to go back and when I'm like, oh look, GSL. Like I'll go back and I'll binge all of the
entire
rounds or
group
whatever
stage or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, on YouTube and stuff and it eliminates a lot of the nonsense of the regular broadcast where you're kind of just waiting around.
Downtime straight up, yeah.
Yeah, and because StarCraft games are so slow, or they're so fast, and the downtime feels so slow that watching them on YouTube, you can just click ahead to the games. Yeah. They always have the markers and stuff, and you're just like, game start. It's a very nice process now.
When you see someone's 6 pool, and you're just like, okay.
I like watching those though. Like it's so hard to cheese in this current iteration of StarCraft that it's like when somebody gets ballsy and is like, I'm cannon rushing your mid line. It's like, yes.
I mean, we'll see.
I like the variation. It sucks when you watch 6 ZVPs in a row and they run the same exact. Each guy runs the same exact build.
He's going roaches into lurkers again, and they're gonna ball up and get to 4 base.
Right, and it's like, oh hey, look, they're making the Colossus, and although people don't make Colossus in the current.
Not in the meta right now.
Yeah, which is too bad because they're such a cool unit.
I hate Colossus. Colossus are the worst.
Spoken like a Zerg player.
Exactly.
Spoken like a Zerg player that's had a lot of games ruined by a bunch of lasers.
Yeah. You try to run up any ramp and half your army just disappears.
Yeah. Well, get good, son.
I'm trying. That's what you guys
That's why you make roaches.
Yeah. Well, in the hiatus of sports, what you should watch is AJ and I be terrible at video games.
Yeah.
Because it's coming. We're going to play a bunch of different stuff here.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be real bad when Rocket League night is going to be rough for me.
Trust, I can carry him. Trust, fam. I got this.
That's the one that you watch his stream that night. And you just be like, and you'll just see my little car doing things on the field, and you'll be like, yeah, that does not look like a fun stream to watch.
Are we going to pit the beats against each other in Rocket League? Because I think that's what we should
do. Does anyone else in this company play Rocket League?
There's a couple of, but I think the Nugget, I think Brennan's pretty good at Rocket League, if I remember correctly. And
we're going to end up.
I know Guy is really good at Rocket League, so there could be some competition.
All right, we're drafting Guy into the Avs then.
All right, that's you guys should probably do that. Don't draft me. I don't play Rocket League, so.
I don't either. This is the thing.
It's just
we are totally gonna end up with like a Madden franchise mode throughout the entire company where we all just like roll in on a certain day of the week and
yeah, but like a lot of us play Madden, so like that'll actually be really fun.
Don't play Madden.
I haven't. The only time I played Madden was at the boss's house one day.
Oh, really?
When I was just hanging
But you're
out.
like inherently good at video games, so I feel like you'll pick it up
I get
quick.
that reputation. I'm not though. I'm not just like good at video. I just play video games.
Especially sports games are a whole different animal.
Yeah, a lifetime of playing Madden means that I can pick it up and I know what I want to do. Just don't ask me to play defense. I've never understood it. I don't get it. Playing offense rocks. But playing defense sucks in football. I don't.
Yeah, that's why you play the quarterback mode. Where you don't have to play defense.
The only game I can play defense in was NFL Blitz, where there is no pass interference, so you just
it was awesome.
Tackle
Switch and dive, switch and dive,
Yeah.
switch and dive, switch and dive, switch and dive. Yeah, baby. That's the honest to God. What video gaming is missing is the adrenaline sports games.
Straight up.
Like the adrenaline sports games that used to be there, the NFL Blitz, NHL Hits. The NBA Street,
MLB Slugfest.
Yeah,
NBA Street was such a good game.
Slugfest was, and the other street games like NFL Street was kind of lame.
NFL Street was
And,
good
like,
that one year where they had Vic in NFL Street where you could
Where he
just
was
do
super
whatever you wanted.
dominant.
He was literally like a superhuman. I think that was like NFL Street like 2003. I think I played that on my PS2.
Sucked, dude. Like it was, you just got Vic, and you were like, all right, now I just dominate.
You're like, now I win. Like.
But yeah, like the adrenaline, like everybody loves NBA Jam. Why are those games just no long? Why do people just not want to buy them, or why do the companies not want to make them? There's got to be a licensing, or there's got to be something. Like NCAA football just disappeared, and everybody understands why. Where did the adrenaline games go? The adrenaline sports games go?
Some of it is licensing because most of the major sports leagues have the single license with EA now.
Yeah,
2K. And the other side of it is. Honestly, it's just way easier to copy-paste last year's game instead of making an entirely new one. So,
and the downside of video games becoming big business is that companies stop taking risks financially.
It becomes more about the dollar value.
Right. It's why you see more franchises and fewer IPs.
Yep. This is a great transition to get to our next question, so I'm taking it while I can. This comes from Compass Blog. A bunch of questions, but a couple of them are pretty quick and straightforward. Number one, do the players get paid during this hiatus?
Oh, I mean, I responded to that on Twitter.
Oh, did you?
And I told him I don't know, but I will try and find out.
I mean, ultimately, they're due what they're due for the season, I believe, no matter what. So
yeah, I think they do, but the question of escrow and how they handle the escrow and how they want to manage all of that, because if I'm Ryan Graves right now, like Nathan McKinnon's fine, right? Like whatever. He's made the $5 million already. If I'm Ryan Graves right now, I'm like, hey,
I need this money.
Yeah, like where my green? I want to keep mailing them checks, guys.
Well,
so,
what do you do with the guys who keep getting called up and sent back? I mean, those are two very different pay scales. Does it just end up where what the roster was when play was stopped?
Well,
I mean,
Cal was sent back down.
Okay.
But
O'Connor was still up and things like that.
That's what I'm saying, though. There's like other guys that applies to.
Well, he was still on the roster, and he was going to be on the roster,
Right.
so he would get his NHL check. The guy that Cal would get his AHL check.
What happens on conditions for traded draft picks, such as, I assume lottery protections and all that stay in place, but things like if a player plays X amount of playoff games or something like that.
Well, we have to see. We don't know because
The
if they
playoffs
have
could still happen,
if they have a regular playoff, then those conditions play out normally.
Yep. And then, what date do you think is the no turn back date, or the date that the season becomes fully canceled?
I think if they're not back by June 1st, then I think that's probably knowing that July 1st is free agency and that they have the draft and the awards. If they're not even playing games by June 1st, and if it doesn't look like there's any optimism of them getting back anytime soon, like if they're not playing games on June 1st, but they're getting ready to, and like, hey, we're going to resume on June 5th or whatever, then okay, fine. But like by June 1st, if there's been no major movement on it, by June 1st, I think we're done.
It's not happening,
Yeah.
There's an off season still has to exist, kind of.
Yeah,
so.
and you still need to give players their summers off and stuff. Like you can't.
And the contract issues that would come up with that and all that.
Right,
as well.
with the contracts expiring on July 1st.
Yeah.
I mean, for that, I'm assuming that there's a legal remedy that they could do for that. because players don't make money during the postseason anyway.
Right.
So it's not the regular contract that they would be abiding by anyway.
There's some pretty weird legal issues with that of playing for the team while not under contract, though. That would be weird,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm sure that there would be something where it would be like, hey, you guys have to sign something that says, this is like a formal extension of your contract until the end of this season, whatever. And then if you were to play into July, like say they do come back and they play into the end of July, I mean, do they then just the offseason takes place in August, the draft is in August and all that? Do they come back in September? Do they move that back into late October for the start of next season? Do you play a truncated season next year? Like, there's so many questions that you would have to answer in the trickle-down effect of it, whereas if they were to just cancel this season and you're just like, okay, well, the offseason then runs as normal, and then we have our regular schedule.
Back to status quo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The prospect tourney in Arizona goes off as normal. It leads right into training camp in September. Season starts on October 8th. Yeah. Whatever it ends up being. So, yeah, it's a lot of questions because if they do try to force it to come back and they're like, hey, we want this to come back, and if they're not back by June 1st, then
really tough.
The trickle-down effect becomes major trickle-down effect.
I will say the rumors that have been flying around is they really want to have the playoffs happen from the sound of everything.
Yeah, and of course they do. Yeah, I mean, for a million reasons you want the playoffs to happen. And when I say a million, I'm talking about all the money that the owners are thinking about when they're talking about gate receipts and the extra revenue because, they've given up however many home games they had left on their schedule. They've lost that. For the Avs, I think they were at 8 home games and 4 road games remaining. So the Avs, if they end up with no more regular season games, the Avs get screwed a little bit there. KSE is they're gonna take the shaft on that one. But if they're able to make it up with full playoffs, then you live.
All right.
It's not ideal, but and in terms of hockey related revenue and all the everything that comes in with the cap and
does the NHL operate off of revenue share like some of the other leagues do, or is it individual? Okay,
it's
so
shared,
the playoffs would benefit. Bringing the playoffs back would benefit the whole league, not just the teams that would qualify.
Yep.
Okay,
and I think it would have salary cap implications and all those things as well.
Yep.
Accounting for the hockey related revenue that they use to calculate all of that stuff. So it's in everybody's interest for that to happen. But obviously, I think June 1st is probably the cutoff date where they get to that point. If it's not back yet, then you've complicated. I mean, you've got European games scheduled for next year. What are you going to do with those? So, the Avs are going to be in. The Avs are supposed to be in Helsinki for Halloween next year.
Yep.
And it's like, is that now? What do you do?
Right. It's way easier to have it set in stone.
Right.
Anyway.
Like just continue to follow the schedule that you've already established.
Yep. So I tend to agree with you. I think the expectation is June 1st is really when they have to go off by. Now they have said
so far away.
They have said they're looking for unique versions of the playoffs. They're willing to get creative to make it happen, but we'll get into that in a second as it is time to acknowledge Breckenridge Brewery as the official beer of DNVR. I'm sipping on their new Encore beer right here, right now, as a little bit of a pregame before we head to the bar to have some more Breck brews.
He just wants 50% off that lift ride.
Straight up. Now, this is how I get home, as I bring this with me. By the way, the Encore does give you 50% off your Lyft ride.
I'll tell you, I will be using one of those codes tonight. I have no intentions of driving home after tonight.
True facts.
I mean, you got to party when you're opening a bar in the quarantine of the world, I guess.
Yeah. While the world is worried about self-quarantining, we are packing people into a bar to celebrate.
Speaking of which, we would love it if you come out. Obviously, if you're not comfortable going out right now, totally understand. Be safe, be smart. But if you want to come hang out, talk some hockey with us, if we don't answer your question on this podcast, we'll be happy.
Track us down in person.
Yeah, we'll answer it for you in person, Haefele.
Yeah, not quite the grand opening, massive party we were hoping for, but we'll all be there. We'll be hanging out, so come chill with us.
Yeah. So looking forward to it, and barring the end of the world, this is going to blow over eventually, and the bar will still be there.
Yeah.
So we'll get back to
we'll
watching
still
sports.
be here, and
we'll still be watching sports.
Sports will
there.
eventually resume,
Yeah.
and you just hope that they don't cost the Avs a cup.
Don't even say that. Yeah. So, all right, back into the questions. I didn't write down who wrote this one, so apologies to whoever you are, but Street Fighter 2 or Mortal Kombat?
Street Fighter. I did not like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, see, I have to go off the agenda here. I'm a Tekken guy.
I knew this was coming.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw the question, I was like, yeah, I bet he plays Tekken.
Yep.
This is the least surprising
Played
thing.
Tekken growing up.
The answer is Mortal Kombat.
Okay, so we have 3 different answers here for a 2-part for a 2-answer question.
And which characters did you play?
Street Fighter. I always played Ryu. When they introduced Akuma, I played him. Yeah. I tried to play. Who was the American who threw the Guile?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Sonic Boom.
Yeah.
That was the only reason I liked to play him, because I liked the way he said Sonic Boom when he did it. I thought that was cool.
Good to know that you're vanilla in your fighters as well. I played Jin and Tekken, so.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
My friends and I played back on the Dreamcast days. We played Dead or Alive.
Okay, yeah.
But that was really short-lived because I didn't like that friend very much, so I didn't go over to his house very often.
Wow, it's going to throw him under the bus like that.
Yeah, I don't mind if I throw that guy under the bus and plow over it a few times.
If we're being real, the fighting game that I played growing up with friends was Smash
Yeah.
Brothers. But yeah.
Ours too.
So
I mean, everybody. We were the Melee age.
yeah, for sure.
So we would just have entire parties where all we did was play those 64-person tournaments and against the level 10 CPUs, and then of course the final rounds was all us against each other, and it was just it got physical on screen and off. So it was a very intense experience when there were like 7 or 8 of us and
going ham. Yeah,
yeah, and I was not good. I did not learn how to actually
I was never
play
a
Smash
great
Brothers.
Smash player either.
The game after that was the one where I picked up Smash and figured out how to play, and I became a Wolf main. And
of course you would be a Wolf main.
yeah, well, Wolf was interesting.
Wolf was like, I'm not Fox, but I want to play a good character.
Well, he was so different from Fox though. Like
he really wasn't.
Like Fox was really, really fast.
Not in Brawl. I mean, he's still Fox, but it wasn't like
it wasn't
absurdity.
I mean,
that
he
Melee
was. Yeah, right. Like and there was no like wave dashing, and there was
Yeah,
none of the nonsense that made him broken. But no, I loved Wolf. It just fit my style. I was always a very defensive player. So
fair. Has Cale Makar met your expectations thus far? Yeah, exceeded them. I would say. No,
he hasn't won
Really?
the Conn Smythe yet.
No, fair. All right. Yeah, sorry. They had to cancel the season because Cale Makar was going to win everything.
They had to cancel the season to ensure that Quinn Hughes got the Calder. That's my conspiracy theory, is that they were like, no. After that performance he put on, they were like, no way. We've got to try and give Vancouver something. We're trying to pigeonhole it so that Vancouver is the first team since Boston to have back-to-back Calder winners. Which is adorable because even having
still be bad.
And I was gonna say they're still gonna miss the playoffs. Having Pettersson and Hughes, they're gonna miss the playoffs because Makar and McKinnon are just better. They're both better.
It's facts.
And anybody that tries to give me any of this nonsense about their defensive impacts, watch what Colorado's defense looks like without Cale Makar. Because you want to talk about defensive impact and how the impact of a player and how he shapes an entire unit. Vancouver's defense sucks with Quinn Hughes. Colorado's with Cale Makar, very, very good defense. Without Cale Makar, very average. With or without Quinn Hughes, Vancouver sucks on defense.
The Makar one, pretty obvious. Talked about the game. He had a bad game and had 3 points.
Right.
Involved in all
and the game-winning goal.
Yeah.
The NHL still hasn't changed it, but that's probably because they all went home.
Yeah.
And they're not the guy that they have designated to look at those things in
run
the
it
middle of
back,
the night. Yeah, is not doing his job. I hope he still has his job. Shout out that guy.
Yeah, I hope everyone still has their job.
But
after all this,
really, like Cale Makar has met expectations.
He's
He's unbelievable.
Shout out Evan for actually predicting the 50 points out of Cale.
Yeah, I bit too hard on history.
Yep. So the kid's special. That's all there is to it.
Yep.
Next question comes from Mary Pace. We've kind of already answered this in parts of multiple times over the year, but what comic book hero alter egos would Avs players be? And she also included Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter as well. God. So
that's too many characters.
I mean, Landeskog is always going to be Thor. Like,
yeah, it's the easy.
It doesn't really change anything. I feel like he's not quite there yet, but as Bednar begins to gray more and more, like steadily going to become Gandalf.
Bednar the Gray?
Yeah, he'll eventually become Bednar the White.
Dude.
Okay, now everyone's going to be mad at me because of the movies, but if you take Captain Fury from the comic books and you put an eye with like the silver streaky hair and you put an eye patch on Jared Bednar, there's some similar looks there.
You think he's Nick Fury?
Yeah. I mean, like the comic book Nick Fury that had like streaky white hair and an eye patch, and not Sam Jackson, obviously, which is a very different character, which is just Sam Jackson being Sam Jackson, which I love.
Is their defense the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. then, or?
Nice.
Nah, yeah. Cale Makar could be Captain. He's not Captain America. He's Canadian.
Captain
I
Canada,
can't say that. But Captain Canada is a real character, and he sucks. So
Yeah, well.
Yeah. I think Belmar would be Deadpool.
That's a great pick.
Yeah, I definitely could see that.
Big Z's got to be. Who would Big Z be?
He's Colossus.
Yes, that's exactly who he is.
100%. Especially the version of Colossus from the first Deadpool movie.
Yes. I'm trying to think. We haven't picked Mac though, and you gotta pick Mac.
Boy, I really don't know.
Yeah.
I don't either. Part of me wants to say Spider-Man, but he doesn't have that quippiness to him.
Yeah, he doesn't have the obnoxiousness to him.
Yeah. Okay, I like Spider-Man, so.
So
which one?
You're young enough where you probably didn't.
I've read Spider-Man's my favorite superhero, so I've read every iteration that exists.
Miles is my guy.
Miles, I love Miles Morales. I'm a really big fan of the TV show that was on Disney XD when I was a kid.
Yeah, too young. Tobey Maguire ruined.
Tobey Maguire was good.
Spider-Man
I like
for
Spider-Man
me.
2.
No,
I
he
think is
wasn't.
still even though it hasn't aged super well. Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man movie
No.
ever been made.
You're wrong.
And the Andrew Garfield ones are garbage.
I like that the Andrew Garfield ones tackled they started to touch on him killing MJ.
Big Z is Bane and Mac is Batman, according to the chat.
Nah, I don't see it.
The one I wanted to say was Burakovsky is Cyclops because he shoots lasers.
Nice.
Good one.
That's
wasn't even thinking of X-Men.
that's a stretch for me.
Yeah,
I'm thinking more
I
like
knew you would say that.
I'm thinking more like personality wise
For
because
sure.
because I tell you,
Mac is a little bit Wolverine-ish if we're talking personality, maybe.
Yeah, I thought about it, but it's like he's not an anti-hero. And Wolverine,
Not yet.
Wolverine does like a lot of bad stuff because it's a means to an end.
That's fair.
And I guess you could say that like what McKinnon did to Quinn Hughes when they were in Vancouver was pretty bad. He does a lot of bad stuff to NHL defensemen as a means to an end, so maybe.
Yeah, that's tough.
Like comic book characters, I mean, I'm really struggling here because I would need a lot more time to really look at like a big roster.
You'd have to think about it a lot. Is Tyson Jost Iron Fist?
I mean, physically, he looks a lot like Danny Rand.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've got a good one.
Yeah,
I've got
he
a
looks
good
a lot
one.
like Danny Rand.
Sam Gerard for Moon Knight. I feel like that's a good fit.
Are you familiar with Moon Knight?
Yeah,
Are you sure?
I think that's a great fit.
Sam Gerard has one personality.
What's wrong with that?
I mean, Moon Knight doesn't. He
yeah,
has
but
3.
Like, I understand that, but like I'm just saying, like play style with like I don't know.
I guess
that sort of fits
if
to
you
me.
I guess if you really, really, really wanted to make that work for me, you could say that Sam Girard has the psycho killer personality that wants to go after DeBrincat.
Yeah, that's true. He's been an angry little guy.
Yeah, he's been a little
I'm
angry this
saying,
year.
and then
so,
you
like,
got the I don't know. I think it works.
I don't think he's got the cab driver personality though.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
He's got the other 2. I think you could stretch to make work.
I don't think it's even a stretch.
I don't know that he has the cab driver. He definitely has the rich guy personality.
Oh,
though.
for sure.
That he's got that down, but he does not have the other. And even outside of DeBrincat, he doesn't have the
But those have
angry,
been some of the
violent
most fun moments this year.
I know you.
So random.
I
So
know you
random, but
said
so fun.
Belmar is Deadpool, but are he and Calvert the Wonder Twins?
That could be Count and Francois.
Nah, they're not twins. That's more like a.
I mean, Belmar and Calvert are twins.
Well, sure, but they synergize extremely well.
Okay.
Francois and Count is like a mentor
Or like
relationship. Like Francois is Professor X or something, and I don't know.
Francois and Count, they've got to be like BFF.
And then Kamenev is Forget Me Not.
Nice. That's just harsh.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do? Yeah, I'm not a superhero, Gregor, but Sam is absolutely the Tasmanian devil.
Oh, yeah, obviously. Yeah, definitely.
All right. One more question.
It's going to bother me. The Count and Francois, like I can't quite put my finger on him. Yeah.
All right, well, he can think about it while we get to our next question, which comes from 2968ATL. Last week, this was the guy who gave us the wrestling question.
Oh, jeez.
Little bit tamer this week. Name your 5 NHL Avs players that you would take if you're building an NBA crossover league with the NHL. All players are in peak physical form, so no injuries count, and who's coaching. Current or former, by the way.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
God, now I've got to open it up.
You can go current if you want to make it easy.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, Mikko is a giant human being.
Like, this is the thing, though, is that even at 6'5",
This is an NHL NBA crossover league, so I assume you're playing other NHL teams in the NBA. So everyone but
Okay.
Boston and Chara is about on an equal footing here.
yeah, and Tyler Myers.
Yeah, fair.
Dude,
Let's see.
I would take EJ,
Yeah.
although I worry about the knees and the jumping and the impact that
I
has.
think he'd be all right. Neither of the goalies, I don't think.
No. I wouldn't take Mikko.
I feel like Sam would be a good point guard.
I do too.
I'd take Mikko, though, for sure.
He's too clumsy.
But he just back people down in the paint with his butt all day long.
This is why I have EJ.
Can run 2.
I'm going to work for
Play
David
some-
Robinson and Tim Duncan.
Play some small ball. We're not a 3-point shooting team.
Yeah, would I have McKinnon on there?
I don't know that I would.
I don't know. I mean, he's a fantastic golfer.
Yeah.
I would assume that he's also just a really good all-around athlete.
You would assume so,
Like-
but McKinnon is the guy.
You just never really know, though.
Like, talking completely with no knowledge, McKinnon feels like the guy who thinks he's a baller and, like, just throws up bricks. Like,
Yeah. You know who I want on my bench waving the towel in the Wancho role? Is
Who?
Matt Calvert.
oh, absolutely, yeah.
That guy, that's what yep.
Calvert and
He's
Belmar.
he's on every sports team ever.
Calvert
Great
and
pick.
Belmar are the
Great
Selly
pick.
squad for sure.
Yeah, like that's those. Yeah, I want Ian Cole
Yeah.
because I need my defensive stopper, and
and
that
he
guy
be
would.
mean. Yeah.
I feel like that guy would just threaten to eat somebody, and he would just channel his inner Tormund,
For
and that's it. Yeah. Yeah. Boy. The coach? Who would I have as coach?
Boy. That's a tough one.
Maybe Grubauer. Because I think that personality would match.
The, like, German, very hard style coach.
Well, and like no nonsense,
Yeah.
like no sugarcoating, like very different culturally, where he's just like,
we played bad tonight.
exactly. Like he would walk in and his like post game speech would be like, "You were good. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Get some sleep. See you at practice."
Definitely.
And that would be it.
100% see that. Yeah.
And I think that would resonate with some of the guys that we're picking.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to. No Nichushkin, I don't think.
Nope, no Zadorov.
Not Burakovsky, not Big Z. Probably not Kale. Yeah.
Kale would be in consideration.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, I think I would have to consider Makar, just because that's a personality you don't bet against.
Yeah. Boy. Tough question.
Yeah, Comfer would also be a guy that I would consider.
I think I'd take Makar before Comfer.
But I like the kind of the attitude.
For sure.
You know.
Yeah.
All-time Avs, I really don't know.
Oh,
I really don't know. There's so many. Like Ian LaPerriere and
Lappy wouldn't be a good basketball player.
Come on. Get out of here.
Can I search Avalanche players by height?
You can just go to Hockey Reference and look for their all-time roster and sort it.
Avalanche all-time roster.
I guess we're just going to
We're going in.
We're doing this live.
We've committed now. So
Bill O'Reilly would be proud.
Deal with it. This is not your all-time roster.
I mean, obviously Forsberg's on your team.
Oh,
Like
that dude would just bulldog into the paint every single play.
I think Forsberg, Lemieux, and Deadmarsh are obvious answers.
I'd worry about Lemieux fouling out like a little bit too often, but
I mean, you're only making a starting lineup, right? Like, doesn't mean that's your whole team.
yeah, I guess that's true.
Like, you can have a bulldog.
Other teams are going to be in the bonus a lot, but that's fine.
I think Lyles would be another guy I would consider.
Yeah, definitely.
Just a natural distributor, really well liked, smart guy, knows how to run a team, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Any consideration for Barry either?
Nah. Same concept as Lyles. I don't know which one I would prefer in a basketball setting.
I mean, I know Barry played some with McKinnon.
What about Rob Blake?
That's I mean, if you're not taking Mikko, you could take Blake for the big behind down low for sure.
The Charles Barkley round mound of rebound.
Yeah.
Shout out Charles. Hope he's okay.
I can't find their all-time roster because I'm dumb, and I'm going to stop looking for it because I have a podcast to do.
Yeah.
So, definitely a tough one, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any, like, tall goalies the Avs had. There are none that are, like, insanely tall. There's no Ben Bishops out there or anything like that, but
I would not be picking Phil Sauvé.
I wouldn't pick the Suave man either.
Or Tommy Salo. I'm good. Hard pass.
I don't think I'd pick any of the goalies, but
Wall might be my coach.
He'd be an interesting basketball coach.
Yeah.
He'd be pretty fiery. Yeah.
Because that kind of personality really plays in the NBA.
Yeah. All right. Well, one person who needs to hit up our sponsor, Green Mountain Dental Group, is Gabe Landeskog.
Dude.
After that last game.
What a man.
I know.
He's got, like, missing a tooth. Got, like, the blood on his face. And it was just, like,
smiling on the bench.
All right. Get you. This is a regular season game, Gabe.
Like, when you know you're 4.5 at best on a scale of 1 to 10 is when Landy smiles after having a tooth blown out and still is like, oh, okay, he's just way hotter than me. Like,
the guy's just a smoke show.
Yeah, there's no competing with
what
that.
What a jerk.
So, I just kind of.
Is there any circumstance in which he is not like the borderline perfect human being?
I'm saying it's ridiculous.
This conversation is going to make me drink.
All right. Well, if you're looking for a free Sonicare toothbrush right now, what you're going to want to do is go to Green Mountain Dental Group and sign up for a cleaning, x-ray, and exam. And they'll get you all hooked up. They're super convenient, 15 minutes away from downtown Denver. You'll be all set. Hit them up. Longtime sponsor. We love them here. I need to go actually soon as well. It's been a minute since I've been to the dentist. So I got to get my teeth cleaned. Look clean and shiny for these videos.
Clean and shiny? What videos?
We're making one right now.
Your Avalanche Weekly Breakdown?
No, I got a bunch of videos planned.
Still no hockey. Then you just walk out?
Sorry, guys. No update.
Oh, jeez.
No, I got plenty of videos planned. Don't you worry. The content will keep coming.
I was thinking more like these type of videos, but yeah, it's true. We've already talked about a million things that we're going to be doing. So.
Yeah. All right. Next question.
Next.
This one comes from Sean Hubert. I probably butchered your name.
Hubert.
Hubert. I'm not French.
Me neither.
Can you talk about the culture change that has taken place in the last couple of years? The Avs winning despite all their injuries, showing they can either win talent or just pure hard work. It's impressive.
So remember a couple of years ago when the Avs signed Matt Calvert, and there were some people who made fun of me because I said this is, like, regardless of what he brings to the ice, this is a super high-character guy that people are absolutely going to love?
Kind of.
That's where it matters.
Yep.
That's where it plays. It doesn't play to us so much as it plays in the room. There's a certain level of expectation that gets set when those guys come to work every day, and you see a super tryhard like Matt Calvert going out there and doing absolutely crazy stuff with his body to try and win a game. It raises the level of accountability on a day-to-day basis in a locker room. It raises the expectations of what kind of effort level you put in. Because if you're not putting in an effort level that's akin to what that guy is, you're doing a disservice to yourself, you're doing a disservice to the team, and everybody in that room knows it. You can't hide when guys like that are on your team. The effort just doesn't lie.
For sure.
And I think that's where it starts, is going out and getting a couple of guys like that. Because guys like McKinnon, guys like Landeskog, guys like Johnson, they survived poor locker rooms, and they understood what a lack of accountability looked like. So all of a sudden it was like, okay, well, how do we create this different culture? Do we need to uproot the entire thing? Or do we just need to start bringing in certain kinds of players that we hadn't been targeting? And now you have a guy like Val Nichushkin shows up, and I think that part of the reason that they have gotten the best and what they've gotten out of Val Nichushkin is because that locker room pulled it out of him. Because he was having the same problems the first month of the season as he had in Dallas, where it was an inconsistent effort.
Yep.
He just didn't look fully engaged. And it was like, you're going to lose your job. You are going to lose your job. And I think that locker room, along with the coaching staff here, helped pull out that player that we see every single night now, the one that's committed and the one that works hard and that does so many little things well. I don't think that happens without the locker room kind of raising him up like that.
Yeah, I definitely think that's part of it. I mean, obviously, it's
culture's a hard thing to build,
right? And there was nowhere to go but up after the 16-17 season, right? The entire team had clearly given up at the end of that year.
I would say before that, the final Waugh year,
yeah,
because there was that game. There were 9 or 10 games left in the season. They were fighting with Minnesota for a playoff spot. Minnesota came into Colorado.
Yep.
And smoked the Avs.
It wasn't even a game. Yeah.
And smoked them. That, I think, was the low point of locker room and consistency and character and accountability. It happened under Waugh's watch first, and then bottomed out because the season ended. You remember they ended that season like 0-9-1 or something. Like they
just completely tanked. Yeah.
Absolutely atrocious in the final 10 games of that. And so was Minnesota. And they ended up basically clinching a playoff spot because neither team could win a game down the stretch. And that was the end of Waugh, and I think that was the end of them listening to him. That was the end of his message. That was the end of him as an effective communicator with the players. And I think that had a toxic effect on the locker room, and that the whole thing just sort of degraded to the point where the next season there were no expectations. It was part of the coaching staff was with the new guy and left over, and it was a total mess. And Waugh just said, "I'm done. I'm out. You guys aren't going to get rid of the guys that I want to get rid of. You're not going to bring in the guys that I like, and you're not listening to me. I can't coach this anymore. I can't be a part of this. Good luck." And the Avs had to pick up the pieces for a year.
Yeah.
And then did. And then you bring in guys like Kerfoot. You bring in guys like Comfer. You bring in Tyson Jost. The high character, really hardworking type of guys. And then you do add in, you had a Blake Como that first year. And then you swap him out for a Matt Calvert, who's a very similar kind of guy.
All of a sudden, everyone's holding each other responsible.
Exactly. And all of a sudden, just there's a different sort of camaraderie. There's a brotherhood that forms and not a room full of individuals. It became a team that really gelled. And then, obviously, it really helps when you have a superstar that breaks out and who also has a maniacal work ethic. Before, it was just work ethic. And then when it translated into an insane on-ice production, MVP caliber season,
right.
I think that helped transform everything. Exactly. The top down, it starts at the top because he's working so hard, and look at what he's achieving, and look at this breakthrough. Look what happens when you keep working hard. I think that also brought the best out of Landy. That set the example for Mikko, and it just they just sort of fell into it.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Four Loko of Breck Brew. It's just a normal beer, but
it's very tall and colorful.
It is a tall boy. It's colorful. It gets you 50% off a Lyft ride if you can find the Encore.
Yeah, does Four Loko do that?
No.
That's what I thought.
It's better than Four Loko. I haven't had a Four Loko in years and years and years.
I've had like 2 ever, and they were both with Jesse.
Nice.
In Vegas.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
For a Four Loko.
Yeah. We got him at a Walgreens. I love Vegas.
Next question comes from Gregor, the man, the myth, the legend, who does our outro song for the pod. His question is, what would you think if they started the playoffs with no more regular season games but go by point percentage to determine the standings? We actually talked about this off the pod the other day.
Yeah, cool.
Vancouver jumps Calgary for third in the Pacific. Minnesota and Winnipeg are out of the playoffs. The Isles get in the East.
Perfect. They want to do that, that's fine too.
It's
I mean, I'm open to pretty much any reasonable solution here.
Whatever brings it back, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Like I don't know that there's a solution that they could come up with that I would be opposed to.
Yeah.
And I wonder how much of that is because Colorado was firmly in whatever solution they come up with.
Would you be here's one that you could be opposed to. They just take the top 2 teams and play the Cup. Boston and St. Louis get to play for the Cup.
I mean, why?
Because then the Avs don't get in when they're the third best team in the league.
Yeah, I might be opposed to that because I mean you're not winning anything at that point,
right?
And I would have the problem of Colorado and St. Louis were supposed to play each other in Game 82.
Right.
And St. Louis finished with the one extra game, and Colorado had every tiebreaker advantage, and so I would definitely have a problem with that. I think Tampa Bay would too.
Yeah,
because Tampa Bay would be leading every other division except the Central.
Well, and not only that, Tampa Bay saying, "Look, we took the first half of the season off because we wanted to save something for the playoff.
We learned from last year, and we were like, we don't care about the first 3 months of the season. You guys told us not to."
So
I think that's why I think if they were going to do an abbreviated playoffs, that top 4 would make most sense. Just especially because it's 2 West and 2 East.
It can't be that hard to get to top 8, I would think. But
I would also fine.
Play a best of 3 in the top 8 if you have to or whatever. But
yeah, whatever. That's fine too. I don't care.
So just bring it back. We don't care if it's point percentage or what. But
that's right. Just please. Please. This is day 2, and this already sucks.
Gregor asked how my trade tree video is coming. Depends on which one you're asking about. There's one that I've been working on for way too long.
Yeah.
That I have not put out there.
I've heard a lot about this trade tree video.
It's like almost done, but now that there's no hockey, I can finish it. So.
No, we're going to be too busy playing Rocket League now.
Yeah, right. Sorry, I got to play video games, guys. We're going pro. Speaking of which,
gotta go pro at something.
Our final question from Ryan Oldford: if you could have a remake of any old video game, what would it be?
Oh, I was thinking about this morning.
A completely 4K version of Morrowind.
Oh, that would be sick.
It would be so amazing.
I was thinking a 3D version of Earthbound would be awesome. Because
that'd be cool.
That game is so nuts. It's got great music. It's got incredible writing, amazing characters, the wildest story. It's super clever. It's really fun. It needs some polish in terms of its combat and how they do certain things. Like, you've got to have HP bars. You have to know how much health the guy you're fighting has, so you know what to do to him. Like, there's got to be some modern updates, but I feel like a 3D remake where you're kind of in the Super Mario 3D mold, very cartoony and silly and lovable and an open world where you get to wander around and do everything. I think that would be so cool.
There are 2 games that I would say. Number 1 is Perfect Dark.
Oh, my man.
With modern graphics.
Dude, that game was everything.
I'm saying.
That was where my group of friends played Perfect Dark and not 007. We did not play GoldenEye.
I was very much a 007 player, but Perfect Dark was awesome. If only for the bots that would end your life.
Dude, those walk around a corner, dead.
Yep.
And you're just like, this isn't even fair.
They know where I am.
Yeah.
They're the computer. They're cheating.
Start a round against the highest difficulty. Wait 4 seconds. Dead.
Yep.
Don't even move. Just wait. Dead. Respawn. Dead.
So that would be probably my number 1 remake. My second one
so good.
is a game called Eternal Darkness.
Really?
Just because it was a total mind bender the first time I played that game, and everything started going haywire, and it's like
the first blue screen.
Yeah, it goes black and it comes back and your save file is gone and you're like, oh my God.
Your save file has been corrupted and you're like, what?
Oh no.
Yeah. Back when memory card space was very valuable.
Yeah, and that just happened sometimes.
Yep, it did. It happened to one of my Animal Crossing files and
then it's gone.
It was just gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that is a mind bender is a very politically correct way to say that.
Yep.
A very PG podcast way to put it.
That's
because
exactly what it is.
It was that game. That game was insane. Going back to bring NHL Hits back.
Oh, absolutely.
The NHL franchise is whatever it is, but NHL Hits was amazing. Get a couple of people together today, online 3-on-3.
That would be
Could you imagine in the bar? NHL Hits.
I'd never leave. It'd just be Rudo versus the next man up.
Right.
NHL Hits.
This. Well, this is what it's going to be like when Kreisman comes back from Arizona and he's playing MLB The Show and just rolling nerds. What are you reading?
No, Gregor's talking about Arkham Asylum that had a little bit of the mind bending.
Great game.
Yeah.
Really out of nowhere game.
Yeah,
because it was Batman game. It's kind of
never been
hot
great. To that point,
and then all of a sudden you're like, it was kind of just sort of like the movies, the Nolan movies, where you're like, Batman's amazing now.
This is dope.
Yeah, this is incredible. What happened here?
All right, so I guess
let's get out of here. Let's go to the bar.
We kind of made a video game pod. To some extent, we got some hockey in there.
Yeah.
But that's going to do it for all of us. As AJ said, we will be at the bar in a few hours here.
Yeah.
I believe it's around 3 o'clock. Yeah, it's about 3 o'clock. So we'll be there early. Bar opens at 5:30. If you want to come say hi, we would appreciate you coming down. You know the drill. We love you. Thanks for the support. we'll be here 5 days a week, even with hockey gone. We got you. So
yep, we're not going anywhere.
Until Monday, we'll talk to you then.